Thank you for listening to the latest episode of Capital Conflab. From rugby and football to korfball and kabaddi, we are here to take you through the very best of sport the wonderful city of Cardiff has to offer. So sit back, turn up the volume, and let us take you through the next half an hour here on Capital Conflab. Well, thank you for listening to this episode of Capital Conflab, our first double guest episode. Very exciting. And this week we've gone stateside.
Yes, you have gone stateside. We've gone worldwide. We're hitting America.
Yeah, we've reached the States on two levels today. We've got Michigan and, if my memory serves me correctly, Arizona. We're hitting the States. We've hit both sides of the States. We've got the northeast and the southwest of it. So a couple of weeks ago we talked baseball, didn't we?
We did, with Cardiff Merlins.
With Cardiff Merlins and their player coach, Richard Schupbach, which was a great chat. We learnt a lot.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And I think it's fair to say learnt even more this week.
I definitely learnt more now.
Oh, we've learnt tons. I would make the claim I could hold a baseball conversation after this week. This week, if you listened to that episode a couple of weeks ago, my weird brain plucked out a viral baseball catch from the Chinese or Taiwanese baseball league. Don't ask me why I remember it, but I looked it up and we tagged in Twitter on social media. We mentioned the player involved, Scott Richmond, and he was playing for the EDA Rhinos at the time, where he pulls off this spectacular catch, which if you want to see, it's on all of our social medias. We've published it on them all. And he reached out to us and said he'd love to come on. He listened to the episode and he wanted to give us some advice, really, on how to pitch in particular in baseball and what tips and tricks he's had. I mean, have you spoken to a nicer bloke than this guy?
Oh no, mate! What a top man he was.
Invited us to baseball if we go over. Said he'd like to come to the Devils if he's in the UK with us. As nice as they come, really. Canadians living up to the stereotype of being the friendliest people in the world. I like to think the Welsh give them a run for their money, but between us, it was nice. Well, Scott, as I said, kindly came on the show and started off by telling us how he first got into baseball himself.
I was destined to be a pitcher because they like height. You can't really coach height, and my throwing action came naturally, and things just kind of aligned to play baseball. I never could really stop when I skated. I was like a baby giraffe on ice. It was just really uncoordinated. I played a ton of soccer too. I know you guys call it football, and I traveled the world, so I get it, so I'll call it football too, but that makes a lot more sense too than soccer, trust me. But my parents said baseball, all right, all you need is a little park, and it's at normal hours, so it really helped out.
What is it about height that makes a good pitcher? Is it sort of the speed you can get behind the ball, or?
Well, it's the downward angle. So like when you stay tall and you bring your arm up and you come down with it, when it's crossing the plate, if you're short, it's crossing the plate flat. So yes, you can make it move and drop and stuff, but when you're tall, it's coming down, so it's already giving you the downward trajectory. So like to get under it and lift it up in the air is a little bit harder. And we release the ball a lot closer to the hitter, so they have less time to react.
You played all around the world, Scott, apart from the USA. Where would you say was the best place you played in?
So for baseball, playing in Asia was really cool. They have a whole different fan environment over there. It's very much like football games for you guys where the fans are singing cheer songs and the crowd's loud a lot of the time. And in North American baseball, that's not the case. It's, you hit the ball and you hear the roar of the crowd. Like, you don't need that in Europe and in Asia. They're screaming already. They don't need something to happen to bring energy. They're energetic. They're singing fight songs for each player that's coming up to bat. They're cheering that player on, and then it just gets louder when stuff happens. So Asia was really unique in that aspect. And it took a little getting used to figure out how to pitch with like loud screaming noises in your ear the entire time you're pitching.
That catch, which we referenced in our baseball episode, I still don't know why it comes to me whenever I think of baseball. You said it was probably the best of your career.
Yeah, it's, I've played my whole life, and I know people that have played their whole lives, and I've never seen it catch anything like it, right? So I've been on the field thousands and thousands and thousands of innings. I've seen comebackers hit pitchers in the ribs and hit them in the nose, hit them in the cup. Pitchers get pelted all the time. We're the closest thing to the hitter, and we're not really prepared to field the ball. We're too busy throwing it. So you can get whacked pretty good if you're unlucky. And the ball comes off that bat pretty quick sometimes, so you don't have a lot of time to react. So it's just straight up block the face is what a lot of people try to do, just straight to the face. I tried to swipe a couple before and missed, obviously, which is 99% of what people do when they swipe at balls, but it just went in. I just call it like an educated guess. You know, like I tried to catch a couple before. I played my whole life. You know where your glove is. You have an idea where the ball is. Is the timing going to be there? You just don't know. And it ended up being there, so it was really cool. I probably won't see another catch like it, really. I've seen some, but a no-look behind the head.
Yeah.
Because the funny thing was, it looked like it was coming at your head, and then you're like ducking and you snag it. So it's something I'll show the kids.
After lockdown's done, me and Phil are thinking of playing baseball, giving it a go. What advice would you give us to help us for the first time?
For you guys starting out, I would make sure you have a cup on. Make sure you get a cup. Like, you look online, you get a jock strap and you get a cup. Because when you're new and that ball's kicking up and it comes and hits you in the marbles, I'm telling you, you're not gonna love the game very much. So it's a big thing to continue to love the game, is make sure you're protected there, and because then you won't be scared of the ball. If you're scared of the ball coming at you, it's going to be a little bit hard. It's all about getting in front of it. But no, man, that's exciting. And I just wanted to come on and say hi to you guys, and to hear people learn about the game and are interested about the game. That it's my first love.
If you're ever in Cardiff, we'll take you to a Devils game, and that's a promise. We'll go to the ice hockey over here.
Oh man, awesome, good stuff. Good talking to you guys. Good luck.
Lovely to speak to you. Thank you very much, Scott.
No problem. Talk to you later.
Well, thank you very much, as always, to all of our guests, to Scott for coming on. That was an unexpected surprise that I think it's fair to say neither of us thought would happen when we started this venture a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, definitely not. I didn't think get anywhere near Stateside or even talk, learn a lot about baseball. But like I said, now quite getting into it now.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna give it a shot. We'll definitely go down to the Merlins. Richard, if you're listening, definitely sign us up for when lockdown's ended. We are very, very keen to do that. Moving on to guest number 2. As I said, 2 guests this week, all the excitement. And we're back to our home territory, if you wanted to. In terms of home and away, football would be our specialist subject. Yeah. And today we're going to be looking at the Welsh Women's Premier League. I think there's 3 teams that play in the Welsh Women's League in Cardiff, but we this week are focusing on Cardiff Met, the Archers, and particularly their season, not the one which is just finished, but the one before that. If you're listening and you're a fan of the Archers or you play for the Archers, you'll know this already, so sorry to bore you. But for those of you who don't know, Cardiff Met's women's team had as good as it gets, really, last year, didn't they?
They did, yeah. They managed to win the treble, won all the trophies, and went undefeated as well.
A feat for any team. There's not many teams. We were just trying to name some. Obviously, Arsenal
have done obviously invincible season. Celtic in the Scottish League. Ajax has done it a few times as well, off the top of my head. But what achievement!
Incredible achievement. And the reason I find those sort of stats incredible is the ability to keep not only an 11, obviously you have your first choice 11, but to do that, you need more than that. You need a squad. You need a mentality.
The same page, yeah.
Squad's all on the same page, all going the same direction. Mental strength is amazing. To keep going.
Big props go to the coaching staff there. Dr. Kerry Harris is in charge of that team and has taken the team from strength to strength in recent years. I know this year they've just missed out on the title. The season was cut short, so who knows what would have happened should it have gone on. But Swansea ladies got their revenge for the year before by winning the league this year. But a remarkable achievement, in no small part down to the player who we are speaking to today. Another phenomenal achievement to be a Golden Boot player from midfield. There can't be many of those either. Can there? Any of those that spring to mind?
Not many. Not with 18 goals as well. Phenomenal, accolades coming from midfield.
I think Graham Kavanagh did for Cardiff, but that's going a long way. But that's going back to sort of Andy Campbell time when we spoke to him. I think we found out, was it Cav was the top goal scorer that year?
Cav with
13 or something.
13 goals.
But 18 goals in a season is a record a striker would be proud of. So our guest this week, we're delighted to say we've got Madison Schupbach on, formerly of the Archers, now living back in America, her hometown of Detroit in Michigan. I was lucky enough to speak to her last year before their Champions League campaign, which was desperately unlucky. They played 3 games out in Slovenia in the summer and were just pipped by Hibernian, the Scottish team, obviously. They beat the Slovenian home team, whose name I'm not going to attempt. Having tried to attempt it during it last time. It looks like Beltinkney, but there's another word beginning with P, which I'm not. And then there was a Georgian team called FC Nike as well in there, and they beat both those teams, which was an incredible achievement in what was difficult conditions. So we thought we'd start by going right back to the start and talking about that brilliant 2018-19 season. Last year was as good as it gets really for any player and any club. Career highlight for you?
Probably. I mean, my career highlight playing with Cardiff Met has been going to Champions League, but the other highlight was beating Swansea in the league, so that was pretty special. It's always good to have a rival game and get that big win.
Was there any goal? I know you won the goal of the month as well for one of the goals you scored. Was that your favourite one?
Yeah. For sure. It's probably been the best goal of my career, 100%. And I kind of it was 1-0 us against Swansea for the League Cup, and so we got that second goal, and we're basically we've won. We're not going to let them come back and score 2 goals. There's no way that they're doing that. So it was special. Sometimes I think about it, I go back to that moment, and it was just perfect. It went off my foot perfect. I felt it as soon as it left my foot. That I was like, it's going to the back of the net. So that's been my favorite goal that I've ever scored in my whole entire life. So it was awesome, being Cardiff and doing that as well.
The Champions League, I mean, slightly disappointing, mixed emotions, I imagine. How was it out there? I saw Kerry afterwards, and she said that the conditions were very difficult out there.
So it was very hot. I'm playing in the U.S. I'm probably more used to the heat because we play in 90-degree Fahrenheit in the summer. But it was that hot. It was, I think, almost every day it was 30s. So that was probably the not the worst part about it, but it was definitely the hardest part on that day game where if we would have tied the Scottish team, we would have gone through. That was kind of rough, and that game was maybe at the 2 o'clock kickoff and 2 p.m. kickoff, and it was hot, very hot. So that was something that we knew going into it, but I think that was probably our downfall too.
What was the experience like as a whole, though? Because the images and all the videos look amazing on social media of you all over there. It looked like a disappointing result, obviously, in the end, but it looked like a great trip besides.
Oh, no, for sure. It was such a cool experience, and we had so much fun. That first game that we won, 1-0, we kind of, as soon as you win one game, you're kind of, that you're still in it. So that was awesome, winning that first game. And then, going into the rest of the games, too, we had such a strong team that we were confident in our ability that we brought the best team and that we were going to win. So it was disappointing, but overall the experience and the staff too that helped out throughout the whole Champions League was amazing. They were above par and just really, really supported us through the whole process. And
What was it like motivating yourself for that last game?
So I think we just kind of went out and said, like, this team, we know our ability, and we should just have fun. We definitely said that before we went out, but the second part was like, let's just score some goals. I got my 2 goals in Champions League in that game, so that was an awesome experience to get those goals. And we really, I think it was ended up being 5-1, and that was we really just went out there, had some fun.
Probably nice, like, to end out on the win, considering the circumstances.
So it was kind of like the last time we all got to play together with that team that won, the treble and had so much success. So it was pretty cool to get to do that with those girls one last time, and then going into the next season, it kind of gave us more confidence.
I'm assuming that in times like this as well, where we're all stuck inside, you keep in contact with the girls from the team, but I imagine you miss them as well.
Yes, I do. I've been in contact with them. To be honest, I probably don't miss soccer as much right now because no one's playing it. It's not that I don't miss Cardiff right now, but it's easier because people aren't playing right now. Cool. But I think as soon as they start back up, I'm gonna be pretty jealous and want to be back there playing with them.
Are you getting a football fix any other way? I mean, we're watching the German football.
To be honest, in the U.S., we don't play as much football as you guys do. So I think our TV is really the baseball reruns, and they'll play every once in a while. They'll play the Women's World Cup games because those are pretty popular and getting those reruns. But we don't get as much reruns for soccer. So I've been, in order to stay busy, I've really just been working out and running and stuff like that. And hopefully, I have a team in Detroit where I'm living now, and hopefully we can do. We're planning on doing a tournament at the end of July, so that's kind of what I'm looking forward to right now, and hopefully that goes through and we're able to do that.
Obviously, you touched upon it there. Soccer's not as big in America as baseball and lots of other sports. How was it that you got into playing soccer? How come that was the sport which you chose?
My parents, they did not play soccer at all. My mom played college softball, and my dad, he did track and field and hockey in high school and stuff like that. So I was the first one in the family to go play soccer, and I think it's an easy sport that my parents kind of put me into, hey, you need to do a sport right now if you're young. I got into it when I was 4. So and I think that women's soccer is a lot bigger than men's soccer over here. We have both, of course, but we don't really have. There's not a big feeder into it when you're younger. You kind of have the 4 top sports, and then soccer is kind of the second sport you play or something like that. So I don't know how I got into it, but I'm very happy I did because it's really been such an amazing sport that's taken me all around the world.
The team you're playing for now, we had a look, it was Corktown?
Yep, so it's Corktown AFC. It's a semi-professional team in Detroit. I played for a different one the past 3 summers, but this one's kind of a little spin-off of the other one. We're kind of bummed that the season got canceled, of course, but it is also only a summer, so you guys are really cool. And you guys do long leagues over there, all throughout the whole year. This league is only in the summer, so it's from May until July. So super short in the summer, and then everyone kind of goes back to college. People go overseas and play or something like that. So it's a super short season.
Any plans to come back at any point and play for the Archers again?
I don't know. We'll see, but I would say probably not. But I definitely miss the girls, and I would probably jump at the opportunity to come back if I could. So yeah.
as I touched upon at the start, we also wanted to talk about, as much as sport, the city itself. What did you love about Cardiff outside of Cardiff Met women's team?
So there's a few things that I enjoyed about Cardiff. One, I thought the size was perfect for like what I was looking for. I think that it was kind of like a small city feel, and I really got to know a bunch of people. You get to know the people working at the restaurants and bars and stuff like that. So that was really cool. I also was able, like, I brought my friends and my family, and I showed them around Cardiff, and they absolutely loved it. They thought it was better than London. They thought it was such a cool place to be, and like the atmosphere around everything. And I think probably there's a few things that my favorite memories of Cardiff, and one was going to a concert in the castle. That was definitely one of the coolest things I've ever done. It's probably, you guys are probably not, that's not like that cool thing to do, but for me, one, castle, but we don't even have those here, and two, I got to see a concert in the castle.
Who did you see?
Clean Bandit. It was such a cool concert. I enjoyed it so much, and it was just like, I told my friends, I was like, I just saw Clean Bandit play live in a castle, and they're like, what? I'm like, yeah.
I imagine lifestyle over here is quite different to in Detroit.
Yeah, I can't walk a lot of places. I have to drive a bunch of places. The bus system is amazing in Cardiff. It's amazing. It's seriously amazing. I never needed a car. I never felt like I needed a car in Cardiff, and I thought that was pretty cool for me, because I didn't drive over there because you don't want to see me drive on the opposite side of the road, I don't think. I can barely drive on the side over here. It's weird to me that, like, now that I've come back, like, that I used to just walk to the grocery store and get like everything I needed, or walk to this place, walk to that place, and like I didn't even think twice about it. But now I can't go. I mean, I could, but it's just, instead of walking like 10 minutes, I would have to walk like an hour. I went to, I'm really bad at saying the campus name, but Llandaff,
yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually much better than most people who don't speak Welsh, so good effort.
I mean, you're so close to town. Like, I would walk into town. Like, I mean, sometimes I take the bus, but mostly I would just walk into town because it was so close.
We've been putting together a couple of quiz questions for our guests on the show. Yeah, you already look nervous, which is great. That's what we want to do. Strike fear. So a couple of questions to test your memory, particularly on last season, the season where you were playing and got to the Champions League. In that season, how many goals did you score in the league?
That's a great question.
Because you won Golden Boot.
So just the league?
Just the league.
14, 15?
Higher.
20? I don't know.
Close. 18.
18.
Which is a great return from midfield. Not many people will score that. Next one we have is, how many games in the league that year did you not win?
I think we didn't win one because we tied.
It was 2, I'm afraid.
2.
Close. But you're right, because you didn't lose a single game. What was Kerry like as a coach?
I mean, Carrie is, Carrie, she's different each day, which is awesome, because I think the same can get boring, but she knows, I think she just expects a lot out of us, and which is awesome. I always love that about her, is she doesn't say a lot. She is more kind of like an observer, and then kind of tells us what she thinks. But the best part about it is, even though we were winning even though we won every single game, no matter who the opponent was, she's like, this is just another time. Like, it doesn't matter who your opponent is. We expect the same result that you had the weekend before, and she never let up on us, which was what we needed and what we expected from her, and we got that. So she has been an amazing mentor and coach that I've had. So I'm very blessed to get to play under her.
Well, she's done wonders for the team. It can't be denied because the recent form and recent results of the team speak for themselves, really. Question 3. You might remember this game. Which team did you beat 8-0 away from home?
I think it's King Coy.
Is correct, yes. Very nice, yes. 8-0, that's thumping by any definition.
So I will say, we played King Coy I think it was three times maybe that year because of in the the league, of course, and then in a cup. We went and played them 4 times, and I scored I think 7 goals against them total. So
they must have not liked you.
I love playing them.
Yeah, they must have seen you play against them and gone, not Madison.
Yeah, but I got pretty lucky against them. I don't know how.
Outside of the league, you won both the League Cup and the FAW Cup. There's sort of 2 answers. Who did you beat in both finals, and what was the score?
In the Welsh Cup, we played Abergavenny, so that was 2-0.
Yeah, and you know who scored those goals.
Yeah, I may have scored those goals.
Yeah.
And then the other final was Swansea.
Yeah.
And I believe we won 3-1.
You did indeed win 3-1, yes. Very nice. And the final one, which is probably the hardest one, is, of course, in that season you won lots of awards at the end. Do you know who won the Young Player of the Season?
Yikes. No, I don't know.
Yeah. It was a player for Swansea, your rivals, but it was Shauna Jenkins.
So, to my defense, this is probably not a good defense, but I still should know that. I actually wasn't there. I was in the States playing for my summer team at home. I'd gone home so end of May, so about a month actually I was home for, and I sent in, I found out I won both of them, so I sent them videos of videos for my accepting the award. So I actually wasn't at the ceremony that they had.
I think that's a good enough excuse. Just about. Well, thank you for coming on. I hope everyone's keeping safe over there, and hopefully one day you'll be back over in Cardiff.
I can promise you I will be back to Cardiff at some point.
Well, great talking to Madison. Thank you very much for coming on. I know that you had a busy day over there. It's difficult conditions in Michigan where they've got some flooding at the moment. So thank you very, very much for coming on. Her love of Cardiff is what stands out for me.
Yeah, definitely. She still, considering she's miles away, but she still misses the place. I know, and taking a family over here, and they loved it as well. It's just brilliant to hear.
Was there any particular bit which made you laugh? Because I still am giggling about the buses.
I think that must be one as well. Her amazement of the bus, and the bus, and then they going to see a band in the castle was the highlights for her, which is for us, it's just the norm.
We take it for granted, don't we?
Yeah, exactly.
I think we're so lucky in this city, and it's as we've banged the drum. It's why we wanted to start this off, because you can do as many things in this city as you can do in London, and without all the hustle and bustle, and with half the size. And we're biased, but people are friendlier. And even Madison's family, she said in the podcast this week, she said that they prefer Cardiff to London. So don't take my word for it. Take their word for it, because I'm biased. So thank you for coming on, and thank you again to Scott. That was an absolute treat. We learned a lot. Scott goes into far more detail than in that. We've only cut a small clip of our talk with him for the podcast episode because we didn't want to drag it out too much. The full interview with him, including some great insight.
If you want to learn how to throw a ball, watch the video, because that man goes into detail and is very, very animated, but he goes through it, and I love about it. That's what I love about it.
Absolutely, and can't really have a hands-on Zoom interview, but if there was such a thing, that is it. It sort of shows us through his jersey collection of baseball kits he's got, as you alluded to, teaches you how to throw, talks us through that catch, and that'll be going up at some point this weekend. So keep an eye out for the YouTube channel. Again, not to bang a drum, but we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube. Everything goes on YouTube. All of our interviews, previews to all the episodes. Get subscribed, get following. next week is the one that I've been looking forward to, and maybe more so than you. I know that it's a sport which I've grown to love in the last...
Trying to get there.
Yeah, it's a sport that I've grown to love in the last few years, and we've been promising fans that we'll be doing it since we started, but if you're listening and you're a Devils fan, we're delighted to say, finally, that is coming next week. We've got 2 guests once again. We've got Ollie Hampson of Ice Time TV, and we've also got one of the key players of the last few seasons coming on the podcast, and we're delighted to have that player on. We won't be saying quite yet who that is. We'll keep that as a surprise in our back pocket ready. What are we on? Spotify,
Audio Boom,
Apple Podcasts, and Deezer. So we're on all of them. You can find them all free. Of course, they're also on YouTube if you want to listen that way, if that's your cup of tea. We tend to put the quizzes up from what we do on Instagram. So if that's we hit 50 followers, not many, but considering we only start a few,
so what is a big step?
It's a big step. We're over 300 followers on Twitter, and we won't give away quite yet. But we've got a competition planned up our sleeve, haven't we?
Yes, we do.
We've got a competition planned, so keep your ears out for the episodes of that, and that one will be through Twitter and Facebook. So get liked, get followed, and that's us until we go full Devils next week. Thank you very much for listening as always, and enjoy the rest of the sun. Thank you for listening to the latest episode of Capital Conflab. If you have a story you want featured, then get in touch. But for now, until next time, you've been listening to Capital Conflab.